The Kenise and Marc Show. The Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Kenise and Marc Show. I am Kenise, and here is oh no, this is not Mark. Yeah, we have a guest co-host that's coming in and just intermittently while Mark is feeling better with his throat. He has been suffering with a little bit of a cough that's been lingering, but as you can tell, she's trying to fit the place of Mark, but she will never take the place of Mark in the Kenise and Marc Show. All about relationships. That's what we're all about here. So today, Vanessa, we're going to talk about a very sticky topic, something that I've learned. So, I mean, in the beginning, I think we talked in one or two, in our first couple of episodes, is that I'm right in the process of writing my first book, which is going to be released in October of 2018 this year. I'm really excited. So, Vanny and I have been working on a few parts of the book, and one aspect of the book that we had to touch on was the S word. So, what is the S word? Ladies and gentlemen, the S word is submission. So, Vanny, I'm going to hand it over to you, and because I know you feel very strongly about this word. Whenever I heard this word submit, even growing up, you know, with a Christian background, coming from parents who are both pastors,
doesn't matter.
It's a word that tends to be, when I hear the word submit, Vanny, I think of Kenise is a doormat.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
And I think that is wrong.
Yeah.
That should not be the intention.
Yeah.
It is not the definition, the biblical definition of that word. So take it away.
So the S word carries a negative connotation. No matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you're in, as a person in and of itself, and more so for women. For women, I think when we hear it, we almost automatically think of a few very clear synonyms. Subservient, less than, slave, without choice, weak, second class. And because of this, we build an imaginary wall.
Right.
We build an imaginary...
We shut down.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't tell you who you are and tell you where to go with your submission, we will just pretend that we're absorbing it, but we are thinking about who we are going to be submitting to
right
after we leave you.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not a pretty name, it's not a pretty concept, but it is so important.
Yeah, what's, you know, and something that I looked at as we're working on my book is the word submission, what it is not. So some people think that the word submission is like, for a woman, it's like leaving when you get married. I have to now submit to this man. It is not leaving your brain
Give up
at
your
the
name.
altar. Right. I'm not leaving myself at the altar. So when I'm done and they said now, you know, I now present to you Mr. and Mrs. and you go skipping down the aisle. You're not leaving yourself at the altar, and this man now becomes everything about you, and then now you're his servant or slave or doormat. It is not agreeing to everything. You know, it's not saying that if you're submit to your husband, it's not agreeing to every single thing, everything he wants,
That's
whatever
impossible.
he says.
He's not going to agree to everything I want.
No, not by far. But I think we as women, sometimes we think that. We think it's like, okay, I leave myself at the altar, and now I become whatever he wants me to become, and now I have to agree on everything he says. Now all the decisions are his. Every decision, car, house, children, no children, it's now his. It's not that, guys. You know, guys and girls out there, ladies and gentlemen, it is not that. So I feel, what is submission? Submission is honoring and respecting your man, and vice versa. But the Bible speaks specifically about women submitting to their husbands. So,
and I think this is where mostly we get askewed, because we're looking at it in just one lens. I love the Message version. I'm going to read from it. It says,
this is the Message version of the Bible.
Yes, in Ephesians 5 verses 22 to 24, it says, "Wives, understand and support your husbands in the ways that show your support for Christ. The husband provides leadership to his wife the way Christ does to his church, not by demeaning her, but by cherishing her. So just as the church surrenders willingly to Christ as he exercises such leadership, wives should likewise submit to their husbands. I think it's so important that we realize that our submission, this S word, is really willing surrender. And Kenise told me something that really resonated with me, because it was like, oh, I did that too. When I was younger, and I always said to myself, because I grew up here in this country for the most part of my life, and I was always like, you know, when I get married, my husband is going to have to take care of himself. If he's hungry, he's going to have to make some food. He's going to have to feed me too. And he's got to do whatever it is. But as soon as I got married, I am telling you, this man loved me so well,
yes,
that I took my red cookbook and I went through that sucker from A to Z, because I wanted him to taste my food, because I wanted him to taste how much I loved him, you know, reciprocating in submission, in surrender, willingly to him. And I didn't see a problem with it.
Right, that's exactly what I did. I used to see the same thing. I would never cook for a man. He would get his own food.
Iron his own clothes.
I'm not doing his laundry. And when I got married, but because I loved and I felt that it was an honor. Mm-hmm. It wasn't my duty. It wasn't my job. It was a privilege. It was an honor to cook for this man, to make sure when he came home that there was like food on the table for him, to make sure I used to take out his clothes every night before for work, not because, you know, he couldn't do it himself.
You want him to look good.
Yes, so I took out his clothes, I would iron it, get him ready, so everything was like laid out in the closet for him, his tie, his shoes, his socks, like everything matched, everything like matched. It was awesome. So we're gonna come back in a short commercial break, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the S word. Stay tuned.
Make sure you tune into Kenise and Marc show.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today we have again, we keep introducing Vanessa. This is not Marc. You know, she does have the glasses, and now I think she took one of Marc's hats. Is that Marc's hat?
Yeah.
Oh, really? He let you wear his hat?
I'm keeping it.
But you look really nice
There's
with
a
the hat.
relationship there.
Today we're talking about the S word, and that S word is submission. It's a big word. It's a word where women, it's a weighty word. Yes, it holds a lot of weight to it. So we were talking about earlier, we defined a word. So if you missed a word before the commercial, go back to the beginning of the episode, take a listen to us defining the word. With the word, right. With the Message version we quoted. You know, as I said earlier, I'm working on my book. This is one aspect of the book that had to come out. And as we were writing this stuff, for the first time, and I told Vanny this just a couple of days ago, that for the first time, I realized.
You and me both.
I realized that woman in the Bible was made for man. Now, I've heard this probably a million times being in church for all of my life. I did not realize, you know, God created Adam in the garden. He created this man. And then when he created all the animals and everything, and he was like, you know, it's not good for this man to be alone. I need to create somebody that's going to be his helpmeet. And he created Eve out of Adam. We were created as females for the man. And from the man. Yes, say that. We were created by God.
First created from him, for him.
For him. And you know, Vanny, I didn't realize that. If somebody would have taught me that back probably before, like, I was younger and as a female growing up, because these are things that I'm going to teach my daughter as she grows up, that she understands, you're not a slave or subservient to a husband, but you need to know your position as a wife to a man, because you were made for this man. So when you're getting married and you're looking when you're looking for a man, and men when they're looking for a spouse, it's so important to find a woman who understands that her values and the respect and the honor that she gives to a man, it's so integral. Because I honestly believe, you look at Michelle Obama, you look at Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife, you look at all of these females during history, different presidents' wives, they never would have been, the man would have never probably reached the epitome of where they ended up without the wife. Mm-hmm. So when you're partnered with the right woman, it's so important when she knows her position, when she knows how to properly submit, without feeling like a slave or subservient or whatever. And I have a few things here. So respecting as part of submission is respecting my husband's desire to lead our family. I'm giving him, that ownership and responsibility is on his shoulders to lead the marriage, lead this family.
And if he had a choice, he wouldn't choose that. He's not choosing it. This is how God made him.
That's God how
That's innate. That's inside of him. Just like inside of us is this ability to submit, to honor, and to show that respect and support.
Praying for him when he's struggling to lead. So
before he's struggling to lead, pray for him that he won't struggle.
I love that. Yes, pray for him continuously.
We don't do that, Kenny.
I pray for a husband that doesn't even exist. I pray for my husband that would eventually come through the door.
I'm talking to us that was before this experience we're coming out of.
You're right.
We weren't taught to do that. Like, even the Bible was just words. It was just words. Like, in our culture, they say, sometimes you're talking to somebody and it's like water on a duck's back. It just rolls off. Yeah, I learned that wives ought to submit, but you didn't teach me it.
Right.
You didn't walk me through it. You didn't give me any tools that I could use so that I could actually do it.
Right.
That's the lack, that has brought us to.
One act of submission and submission, we're talking about honoring and respecting him, is don't criticize him.
Oh no, especially in front of people.
Don't criticize him to others. Don't criticize him whether he's right there. Don't criticize him. I feel, I've been married before. I have a wonderful father. And I have a lot of male friends, more than female friends, because I do like more male friends than female friends.
That's a dangerous.
I'm single.
Not laughing.
I'm ready to mingle. Anyway, so I feel it's so important that you don't criticize a man. He may not be upfront and say, stop criticizing me. Men sometimes tend to internalize it and they hold it, and it becomes
an abscess. Abscesses are pimples.
Go ahead, nurse. Go ahead, RN.
Pimples that don't have mouths or openings, and so they grow inwardly, and when they're ready to pop,
that's it.
You gotta cut them.
And there's no turning back. There's no turning back. Guys,
it'll leave a scar.
It'll leave a scar, but the guys, when you criticize them, when you speak badly and negatively about them, whether in front of their face or to other people, you just don't do that. This is the man that God has given to you. God, you want to respect him, you want to honor him.
It's the man you chose.
The man I chose. So right,
girl.
See,
this is the thing.
So right, girl.
The word is criticize. We criticize rather than critique, because we have to critique. God has placed us in this relationship to help meet a need. So obviously there is going to be needs. And so in helping that need, you have to be able to critique. But critique is a positive thing.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, you're not showing him, oh, look, you've got a booger in your nose and you won't clean the booger. Why is that booger there? Come on, what? No, you hand him a tissue. And you say, honey.
So you're encouraging him. You're supporting him.
You give him the solution to the problem.
That's right.
You don't be the addition to the problem.
No. So, Vanny wanted to share, I think, lastly, as we close out this episode about the S word. I hope that we were able to bring some kind of unveiling of what this word and the connotation maybe that you've learned in the past, or maybe what you've had in your mind, what this word submission really means. Vanny.
So, I think it's so one-sided because we really own this word submission too much as women. Before we can understand why it is and how it is we need to submit, we really have to understand the role of this husband, this man, and what he has to do. We don't give him enough credit. So I was going through a great teacher that I love to follow, is Charles Stanley, and he had this to say. He said, as the head of the home, speaking of the husbands, they have been entrusted with the role of provider, protector, decision maker, and humble servant to their families.
What?
Any man who recognizes the weight of this responsibility will run. No, knows he needs the help of his wife. Her role of submission is not that of a doormat, ding, 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 but of a cherished helper and partner. Although their role in the family differ, gender roles are different, nothing's wrong with that. Husbands and wives are equal in worth and value. Can I say that? Women, you are equal in worth and value. Why? Because God made you from man for man. He saw you inside of him as a potential. Right. There was this potential inside of man that wasn't being realized.
Right.
And so what did God say to himself? He didn't need anybody else. He said, self, he can't be alone. Right. Because there's potential inside of him that's going to be wasted. And he went in invasively. The Lord put Adam to sleep and went into him and removed the potential for his success and brought that potential
he brought
to
a
him.
Kenise.
Me! You understand me? So you are so valued.
Right.
And let's get back to the message. In his wisdom, the Lord knows that this is the best arrangement for the family. When children grow up in a home where this pattern is honored and practiced, they develop a sense of security and confidence in the wisdom of God's design for every area of their lives.
That's right.
So it's amazing to know that the word submission is a wonderful word.
It is.
It's an awesome word when you understand what it is you're submitting to and who you are submitting to.
And why you're submitting to. So we hope the S word has totally
changed your mind.
Yes, totally like changed your mind, totally changed you guys to like understand this a little bit more. So we want to hear from you. So continue to send us your comments on Facebook, a comment on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and definitely like us on Facebook. Thank you, Vanny, for joining us again for yet another episode. We do miss Marc very much, but she looks just like Marc with the glasses and the hat. So hopefully Marc will be back soon. Thank you guys for joining the Kenise and Marc Show. I'm Kenise, and this is Vanessa. We love y'all.
Kenise and Marc Show. Kenise and Marc Show. Make sure you tune into the Kenise and Marc